everybody. Welcome to our first ever freshman orientation for the class of 2024 Parent Virtual Night. It's good to see you all out there, and we've got bunches of people headed on. So thank you for your commitment. I am Jessica Hassel, principal of West Warwick High School. I was a special educator in the life skills, severe intellectual disabilities room for 13 years. It was West Warwick High School was my very first job. And last year was my first year as principal. And the year before that was my first year as assistant principal. Mr. Green?
Hi, everybody. I'm Mike Green. I'm an assistant principal over here at the high school. Maybe some of you remember me from my time as assistant principal at the middle school. So I was there in West Warwick for about 4.5 years. And last summer, I transferred over to the high school. I'm a point of reference. I know both schools, and I can tell you that it's a very exciting time. I'm excited for your kids. They've got a great 4 years ahead of them. And if I'm always here, always reach out if you need me. Mr. Alves?
Yes, hi, my name's Steve Alves. I'm the Dean of Students. I'm starting my 13th year as Dean of Students here at West Warwick High School. I was born, raised, and educated in the West Warwick public school system. I taught history for 10 years. I worked in the Narcotics and Organized Crime Division of the Attorney General's office for 10 years. I also coached high school football for 6 and was the athletic director here for 6 years. So I'm looking forward to investing all of my experience and knowledge into the journey with your child towards graduation in 2024, whatever that may look like.
All right. Thank you, gentlemen. As you all are very well aware from her voice and her weekly emails, our superintendent of schools is Mrs. Karen Tarasevich. So we are certainly headed into the school year 2020 with a lot of unknowns. And I tried to bring a little humor here with this map of what our lives have looked like since early March. So tonight I want to give some time dedicated specifically to your students. And I want you to take some time to recognize how important this transition is for your 9th grader moving from middle school to high school, and how important the next 4 years will be for your teenager. With that being said, I really want to try to focus in on the expectations for both your students, our families, and what you can expect from us at West Warwick High School. And I want to hold all questions that are COVID related till the end, or till an answer form where we can ask specific questions and we can communicate with each other that way. So what can you expect from us? You can expect that you'll be hearing from us a great deal of time. You can, we will be communicating monthly on the Google Classroom, and emails and phone calls and text messages home. You can count on us to have clear, concise communication that is active, especially in these times. You can also count on consistency from each one of us, Mr. Green, myself, and Mr. Alves. We all find comfort in routines and consistent expectations, and our students will know where to find us in our consistent locations, whether it be in an email format, on open Google Classrooms, or within the building. You can also expect us to have consistent behavior expectations with consequences as well. You can expect connections from us. If you ask all 3 of us, the number one a favorite part of our job is going to be connecting with our students. It's been the hardest part not being with our students over the past 6 months, but you can expect us to connect with them in the cafeterias, at school dances, at athletic events. We are here to build relationships and trust with your teenagers. You're also going to expect us to, you can expect us to be courageous. This one is hard, but as a leader of our high school, I have an obligation to be courageous, to have courageous conversations about respecting one another, about diversity, about taking risks and making mistakes. And you will see us modeling courageous behavior throughout the school. You can also expect that we will focus on high expectations, both academic and behavioral, and that we will support all students for their social success. We believe that all students can be successful in the school setting and that we are here to support them. So what we expect of students. First and foremost, we enforce every rule. We've got a very large handbook that I'll get into in a little bit, but each expectation is outlined for what we expect of our students, and Mr. Alves is going to be able to really get into the nitty-gritty of that. We also value one another and value kindness, compassion, and our positive school culture. You may have heard of our Choose Love movement, where we really are working through learning with our teachers, administrators, and our students about compassion, gratitude, forgiveness, and courage. We honor each student's individual potential in academics, and that includes their individual educational journey that looks completely different for every student. Students have different interests, different academic levels, and we want to make sure that we hand tailor classes and a pathway that makes sense for your student to be as successful as possible. And we also expect students to have a strong work ethic, and that means both in school and outside of school. We're expecting students to put in the work that it's going to take to stay committed to growing as a student, both socially and academically. And that's a lot that we're expecting of students. So little by little, we'll get to know one another and we'll grow together. So what do we ask of you, families? We must have a strong partnership. And in order to have a strong partnership, we will need to support one another in having strong communication. That's going to mean answering the phone quickly, answering emails quickly, both myself and our admin team, and parents as well when we need you most, which is oftentimes at the drop of the dime in the middle of the day. The more information we have about your teenagers, the better we can help them and support them through anything, whether it be a success or a failure. But we want to be able to share this responsibility with you. We also ask that you review our student handbook, and I'm going to show you exactly how to grab that in just a few minutes on our school website. We want to make sure that you're aware of all the rules, and if you know, parents, it'll be much easier to enforce them when you know exactly what's expected of your teenager. On a typical school day, a typical school year, school starts at 7:30 a.m. That means that you're in your chair, ready to learn, ready to roll at 7:30 a.m. We expect timeliness from our students, and as a parent, I certainly understand the chaos of the morning between making sure that kids have exactly what they need, and that oftentimes is difficult. But we're expecting parents and students to be committed to being on time, and also communicating with us if they are going to be absent. So the robocall from Aspen, which you're all probably very familiar with, will go off after 8:30. So if you are absent, please call the school building before that time. If your student will be dismissed early, and again, this is, for the next 4 years, send in a note and we will call home to verify if students will be dismissed early. And we also encourage you to be a strong example on social media. And what I mean by that is instead of asking questions out there to the great wide world of Facebook or Instagram, go ahead and pick up the phone and give us a ring, or send me an email, and immediately we'll, as soon as we can, we'll address it. We'll get those questions answered, and we can show some respect and positivity towards each other. And then you might be able to shout out, information to your friends and family that might be asking you as well. We also ask that you avoid calling or texting your student in school. I know for having kids that sometimes I'm worried about them. I want to make sure they, have their soccer cleats for, afternoon, or their ballet shoes. But calling or texting them in school is sort of encouraging them to access their phone. So if you can avoid that at all costs, that would be definitely would assist in modeling our expectations. And last but not least, we really want to ask that you play your part in school safety. And we encourage students and parents, if you see something, say something. Too often, later on, I hear from a family, oh, I was going to call, but I just didn't want to overstep. Go ahead and send me an email and, get or call the school, so that way we can help keep our school as safe as possible, and encourage your students to do the same. If they're questioning and they're wondering, they should always report. So there's a bunch of different ways to stay connected and find out information. And for this, I know sometimes we're inundated with information. You might be, unfollowing us on Facebook just so you don't have to see the posts that go up and get the notifications. But the more ways that we can communicate to you all, the better. So the first way to stay connected is going to be Aspen and the Aspen Family Portal. And now more than ever, as you now know from having to fill out the last workflow related to distance learning, we will be relying on Aspen as our communication tool for families. So you'll be continuing to have to fill out workflows related to, what we're experiencing with COVID. So make sure that you have your Aspen Family Portal password. I'm going to help support you through that. Also, Google Calendar and Classroom. Your students are going to use Classroom to support all of their information from classes to grade level expectations. So if we have information to give the freshman class, we're going to shoot it out through Google Classroom, so that way the students have the information at their fingertips. Also, you can use our Google Calendar, which is right on our website, to see any of our latest events. So if you were to go on our website right now, you'll see that tonight at 5 p.m. is the virtual parent night. So you never really have to wonder, because it'll all be right on that calendar. Also, the West Warwick High School website is going to be an excellent way to get information, and it's information at your fingertips. And I'm going to go through that in just a second. Last is social media. We are now up and running with the hashtag or the handle at WWHS Wizard Pride on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And you can get most information by that. And again, email and phone is a great way to contact us. My rule is I try not to hesitate more than 12 hours to get back to parents. But if you don't hear from me in 12 hours, give me a ring or email me again. You can follow us on all of the social medias at WWHS Wizard Pride. And I checked our numbers before we started. So I'm hoping that we get a lot of follows, at least the follows that are on following us tonight. Hop on those social media sites when you get a chance. Our school website. Everything you need to know is here, and I try to I do actively update it daily, sometimes hourly, depending on the information that we have. So here's our website. If you look up here on my toolbar, I have it saved, so it's really accessible for me to get it as quickly as I can. I also have Aspen saved here, so that way I can hop on Aspen really quickly as well. So if you go to our website, you'll be able to see links that are clickable and will bring you to where you need to go. So if you needed to get onto the virtual parent night, you'd click on it and it would bring you right to that link. If you needed to look at the latest parent principal's message here, you'd click on it. It would bring you straight to the latest newsletter. That's going to be all of the information that you need at your fingertips at any given time. So whether you received the emails, whether you received the text message, you'll still be able to access it straight on that website. If you have a question that's related to the reopening of school, you can click right here, and we get alerted from our email if somebody communicates here. So you can ask a question and we will hopefully answer it. We'll be able to get that information for you. If I don't have the information, I will get you that information. Aspen support is here. There's lots of other links for it as well throughout our district and on our WWPS website, but you can just click there to fill out the help desk ticket. Working papers, there's step-by-step directions there, which you're going to be needing if you haven't already in the near future. And then you've got all your social medias here right at your fingertips. This is the trusty calendar that I spoke about. Everything that you need to know is right here, and you'll be able to see times and details. And if you click on it, you'll be able to see more specific details as well. And then we try to update as often as possible. These pictures are from actually February. So we try to update. You might be able to see your teenager on this website when it rolls through. So the most important tab here on the website is going to be student and family resources. And you're going to click on that, and it's going to drop down to anything that you may need. The program of studies, that student handbook I was referring to, any other bell schedules, bus information, Thunder Mist Health Hut, it's all going to be there, right, and easy for you to access. If you needed the Aspen Family Portal, you're going to click right here on this Aspen and other login information, and it's going to pop you right over to this handy dandy link, and then straight on to Aspen Family Portal, just like that. So it's my hope, and we didn't always use the website this way, but in the world where we need to access information more and more, and it's ever changing, that this homepage of the website will be the most accessible way for you to get information. So if there's something new, it will say new principal's message, and just click on it. That way you can get exactly what you need when you need it. All right, I'm gonna hand it over to Mr. Green, who's going to start to discuss the details of our school schedule in a typical year.
All right, great. Thank you. So we normally have a 6-period day with the 7th period drops. So it's a 7-period. Ultimately, the kids you'll see in the schedule 1 through 7, but 1 period drops. There are 4 lunches starting at 10:30 and ending roughly about 12:18. Okay. So there's usually 4 lunches. It went back, Ms. Hassel. Thank you. So it's a lot better than the middle school. There's a lot more choices. The kids are gonna love that part of it. Once we get into the flow of school, there's a lot of choices, and again, they can always bring their own lunch as well. We have advisories. Advisories are kind of like, if you think about the academic strategies period the kids had, it doesn't meet every day, but the high school utilizes those periods to kind of do the similar things, to send out information, report cards, progress reports, important notices that you may need brought home. There's also grade level assemblies that we would use during those advisory times. So anytime we need to get messages out to large groups of kids without interfering with our daily instruction, we schedule those on Tuesdays and Fridays. Okay. Again, in a typical school year, there's about 3.5 minutes to get in between the classes for passing time. There are going to be times when the kids are going to be in the 2nd floor and have to get to the back of the school, but they can all do it. That's kind of been going. That's the way it's been for years. So I'm sure your kids will be no different. They'll get there on time. So what's available for everybody? So your teachers are the number one resource. Okay, so please start with them. Ms. Hassel spoke earlier about building relationships, and I think in high school more than anything else, any other time in your child's development, it's about building relations with their teachers. They're not the bad person. They're there to help them grow, and they're there to help nurture those kids. So, a big piece when students come to me, I always kind of encourage them to build a positive relationship with those teachers. And that's where kind of that's where our focus is when there's kind of disagreements with teachers and kids. The media center is always open for kids that want to come in early. And again, this is a typical non-COVID schedule. The media center, which is the library, is open in the morning, and then Monday, Wednesday, Friday until 3:00. So you can always use that. Tomorrow, some of your kids, and throughout the week will join us in a virtual meet your mentor orientation Google Hangout. So we have some mentors that are great kids. They're pillars of our community, and they volunteer their time to help with easing the transition of your child into high school. So our mentor program is great. It's really one of something that very few schools do in the state, and we're very proud of that. And the kids, they were all trained on how to be a good mentor, what that means. And your kids are in good hands because there's some really good kids going to be working with them over this year. We also have school social workers who are very busy. I know, during this period, they're still very available through emails. So I would suggest, children who have maybe a difficult time right now, getting settled in, between their guidance counselors and the social workers and us and the admin team, there's always going to be people who are here to listen to your child and to give them the best help they can. The clothing closet, much like kind of what they had at the middle school, we have clothes available for kids if they get caught in the rain, something happens, where they need to change. We do have clothes available. And then there's always Thunder Mist, which is, if you're familiar, it's housed at the middle school. And they have a counseling component to it, social work component to it, as well as just the physical health. So like I said, the freshman mentors. So they'll meet monthly in advisory meetings. Again, I explained what those, they're not going to be there every meeting, every advisory, but monthly. In each class, we'll have 2 or 3 mentors per group of kids. And those advisory classes make up about 15 children altogether when we are in a normal setting. And again, their job is to develop strong relationships with the freshmen, teach them the ins and outs of the school, give them some advice, as an experienced West Warwick wizard can give. There is no pool on the 4th floor. There is no 4th floor. So, they're there to kind of, soften the transition and give them at least someone they know right away that's in the building. So I think that's a great program that we have. And we're excited tomorrow to have them meet their groups. So our parent learning series, the dates will be determined. What we've started last year, we invited parents to come into the school. We had specific topics that really were germane to you as a parent as regards to your teenagers. And we've established pizza and babysitting. We have kids like from the mentor program or different programs that we have that will watch kids. Sedesco's been great in offering us some food for families. You can come during dinner time, and it just gets you in the building and get you used to kind of the technology that we use at the high school. And our first series, for example, will be on Google and Aspen. So Google Classroom, how teachers communicate with your kids, how we can communicate with you, and then the Aspen, which, especially now, we're all going to need to really be experts in how we manage the Aspen platform. Again, that's going to be another series where we're discussing specifically the Aspen and how to reset passwords and get you through the clunkiness of Aspen, because it can be difficult at times.
And I think Mr. Monty is going to be putting on special tech series as well that will help support all of the needs that are coming in the near future. Sorry, I threw that one at you, Mr. Green, but you did a good job.
Oh, thanks, because I didn't look at that one. I didn't see that one this past one.
Thank you, Mr. Green. So now up is Mr. Alves, Dean of Students.
Yes, good evening. Thank you for joining us and welcome to West Warwick High School. I'm looking forward to establishing a 4-year relationship with your child, and you'll see the growth from the beginning when they're intimidated by my messages, unfortunately, to the growth where that 4-year dialogue develops respect, growth, and maturity. A couple things I'm going to be talking about, attendance, behavior, but we'll start with why is a stool up there? For me, the metaphor of a stool, a 3-legged stool, is symbolic of an educational community. And for there to be success, for that stool, for that child to be successful and support the weight of growth, achievement, and development, we need all 3 factions involved in the growth of that child. Each leg, the school, the parents, and the student, are co-equal supporters in the student's education. So the word community, being a compound word, means we all need to be in common, in unison, to create an educational community. I'm here as Dean of Students Behavior, and it sounds more like to some kids that I'm the Dean of Consequences. Consequences are tools that I have to hopefully help your child to maintain their focus and investment and to avoid the temptations and distractions that are around them. So I'm going to need your support if I ever have to call home and have one of those conversations that, believe it or not, I don't enjoy having, but they need to be discussed. And it's, if you look at it from the growth and the benefit of your child, we'll all get along very well and your child will appreciate it down the road. My job is to make the building safe. And I use the word safe, okay, to spell out everyone's goal in that building. S-A-F-E, safe. Schools are for education, first and foremost, whether online or in person. Schools are for education. So anything that your child is going to do, say, type, or wear is to enhance and not detract from the educational community, both in school and out of school. The child's conduct can be disruptive to the learning environment of another student the next day. So what I try to tell the students is stay in the high-speed lane of focus and investment and out of the breakdown lane of temptation and distraction. And we all know in this cyber world that we live in, the number one distraction of my high school student and yours is that device we give them to communicate. That device can do everything else but just make the annoying phone call back in my day. So what they type, what they watch, what they talk about, what they like, what they forward, better be safe for our educational community. If it's something that's distracting to somebody else, I'm going to have to look into it and hopefully rectify it so all parties are back working towards a common goal. So first, phones, if we are in school, are to be out of sight. Bottom line, state law says they're not supposed to be on campus. The bring your own device overrules that and allows your child to bring it for safety and educational purposes only. So it should be out of sight unless the adult in the hallways or cafeteria, which is me, and I don't allow them, or the teachers in the classroom ask them to take it out to use it, it should be put away. Otherwise, it's confiscated, and then there's a hierarchy of consequences to follow. Next is the dress code. If we are in school, again, we're dressing for success. Okay, remember again, schools are for education, not for fashion. So we'll start from head to toe. Your child should have nothing on their heads, hats, visors, do-rags, earbuds, okay? Nothing on their heads unless it's medically or legally or religiously cleared in the front office. In this new normalcy that we would have if we got back into school, the only thing that should be on their heads now is a mask. Okay, during this COVID time, until further notice, if they're in school, the mask is a condition of admission. Okay, so it's to be on at all times. Shirts, basically, again, school appropriate. Nothing on the lettering that should be distracting, promoting drugs, sex, or alcohol. Should be appropriate as far as coverage is concerned. So the stomachs, the backs, okay, and the shoulders should be covered. From the waist down, all shorts or skirts should be mid-thigh as defined by the full extension of your hands, okay, past the thumb. And finally, even as crazy as it might sound, I've had to suspend students for wearing socks that have marijuana leaves on them. They should not have anything that's promoting drugs or alcohol on them. Finally, we have something called social suspension. Social suspension comes when a student has violated one of the three things that puts you on social suspension. One is attendance. And during normal times, 5 unexcused, and I'll repeat the word unexcused, tardies, absences, or dismissals puts you on social suspension for the rest of the quarter. Once you reach 18 unexcused, tardies, absences, or dismissals for the year, then you're socially suspended from participating in dances, plays, sports, okay, for the duration of the year. We get those numbers 5 because it's 5 days is 10% of the quarter, 18 days is 10% of the academic year. Next, to be eligible, you must pass 5 out of 7 classes in the prior quarter. Per the Rhode Island Interscholastic League, 3 Fs makes you academically ineligible and puts you on social suspension for the next quarter here at West Warwick High School. And then finally, there's something called conduct unbecoming of a wizard. All right, so whether it's suspensions in school or out of school, unserved detentions, or something that, again, you've done in school or outside of school that's against the handbook, that would make you ineligible to participate in something for a period of time. So I'm looking forward to meeting all your children. My brother has talked highly about this class, and he worked with them for the last 2 years. And I'm hoping for normal times for all of us. So thank you for your time and your attention.
Thank you, Mr. Alves and Mr. Green. As you can see, we have some really strong administrators who are here to help support and keep consistent expectations and consequences with your teenagers. Sort of rerouting the direction here on the tail end of our presentation is going to be graduation requirements for your high school senior. By the time that your teenager is a senior, they need to acquire 23 Carnegie units. That's going to be 23 classes that they passed. There is a great deal amount of flexibility in the courses and their sort of path that they take. And students graduate West Warwick High School with far more than 23 Carnegie units very often, as long as they pass each one of their courses. Students to graduate will also need to participate in end of course exams across discipline areas all 4 years and create and successfully present a graduation portfolio. Our guidance counselors are extremely skilled in helping to support our students in whatever path that they take, whether that be the West Warwick Career Center or our CTE pathways or track straight to college, or career. Our guidance counselors are experts in the field, so we really ask that you trust our recommendations as we help support your teenager. Freshman year is going to be a key year for our students because the more successful they are in freshman year, the more established they'll be. And if you talk to any graduating senior, they'll tell you, slacking off freshman year really still pays the price all the way through senior year when they're struggling to make sure that all of their classes are passed. So if you jump in feet first now, you're much better off towards the end and far more successful overall. Student schedules, and I'm sure that's a big one that's on your mind, and you can see there's very little writing here, and that's because we still have not officially created our student schedules in the new scenarios that we're working with. So as soon as they're created, but we're still working out fine-tuning each schedule based on preferences and safety for students in numbers. So that has not quite been locked in yet. The minute that we have them ready and established for you, you will have them. And you're going to access those in Aspen on that family portal or that student portal, just like you'll access most everything else for your students' education. You heard me mention the word pathway and CTE, and I'm going to just take a quick second to go over what is a pathway. A pathway is a rigorous educational opportunity that incorporates and integrates real-world learning experiences with industry professionals out in the community in work-based learning experiences. A pathway supports learners reaching their academic, their career, and their life goals. And it isn't a requirement to participate in one of our pathways, but we do have an incredible amount of offerings at West Warwick High School related to pathways. So if a student is in one of our 10 pathways, which is one of the highest number of pathways and choices in the state of Rhode Island, a student will be afforded specific opportunities that I'm going to talk about in just a second. So for more information, you can go straight on our school website. Your eighth graders, when they were in eighth grade, learned a great deal about all of our pathways and the offerings, and they might even have gone to our pathway fair, signed up to be part of the pathway. In fact, there's a handful of our freshmen that have currently applied and been accepted into our pathway programs. So in a CTE pathway, students have access to a variety of learning opportunities like we spoke about that help with our career goals. And those students all who participate in the pathway will leave with post-secondary education credits. So each one of your students who participate in the pathway will leave with up to 12 college credits before they even exit high school. So it definitely has an advantage, and all of those credits are free. An incredible opportunity. So additionally, students will have a work-based learning and some sort of performance portion of that pathway as well. And I'd love to share more information with you regarding this. If you're interested, you can reach out by email or click on our website for pathway information and apply for one of our 10 pathways. I will be sending a link out for you and just some quick links for you via email right after this presentation, which will give you a link to Aspen Help, and our website, also CTE pathway information, so that way you have everything at your fingertips to get started here at West Warwick High School. We also ask that you assist us in signing up for My School Bucks online. You may be familiar with that. Again, you can access that straight through our website or through the links that I'm going to send you for some quick links. You can also sign up for free and reduced lunch forms right on the website in the very near future, which have to be done every year. Additionally, we ask if you are a Stop and Shop shopper. I live right near a Stop and Shop, so it helps me out a little bit and definitely helps out our school, that you log on to stopandshop.com and fill out our school ID number, and students will, our school receives a great deal of money if you just link our school number to your Stop and Shop card. You'll save money and we get some money, which is very, very helpful for us. So go ahead and do that. Additionally, if you need to change any of your contact information in Aspen, maybe you updated your work information, or you wanted to add grandma on your contact information instead of auntie, or you wanted to add grandma in addition to auntie, you can go and do that straight by going onto Aspen. If you are familiar, the same way that you initiated a workflow for your distance learning request, and you'll log on, you'll be on the home page, and on the right hand side you'll click initiate. Then from there you'll have this drop down menu that looks just like this, and you're going to click contact verification. I tried it today with Mr. Monty, and essentially you just follow the prompts. You can update if necessary, and you just follow the prompts until you finish, just as you did with your other workflow with the distance learning. So you can go on and update that, and you no longer need to fill out a pesky contact information form. It's going to be essential that that information is accurate so that you get all of our emails, all of our text messages, and all of that information. If you don't have any of that and you hear that there's been communication with the school, you can go straight on our website and all of the information will be there. But we highly encourage you to use that contact verification form. If nothing changed, then you don't have to redo one. All right, so specifics on school reopening are going to be very minimal here. In the coming weeks, we will provide more specific details on distance learning. We want to be sure that when we roll out information, it's clear, it's understandable, everybody feels oriented and safe and successful to move forward in our next steps. And when we are able to do that, we will have a high school specific parent information session so that parents feel informed and at ease and ready to start the school year. I can say, as you probably already know, we have been working feverishly to make sure that our schools are safe and that our students have all of what is necessary for them to be successful next year. And as soon as we have all of that clear information, we will give it to you. I really want to thank you for your patience and your grace in this period of time. The parents that have reached out to me have been understanding and open-minded, and I really, really thank you for that. As a parent myself, and Mr. Green and Mr. Alves as well, all have students in the school systems. We understand what an uneasy time this is for everyone, so we thank you so much for your cooperation. As we're moving into options for families, we have asked you to choose distance learning versus in-person. And at this time, in-person looks more like a hybrid model for in-person. As you, if you're looking for more information, if that was too brief and you're new here, you can certainly go on our WWPS website and look for all of the superintendent communications, and each letter that she has written weekly is right there on the website for you to be accessible. So if you have not chosen yet, which there's about maybe 35% of freshman parents who have not chosen yet, you'll be defaulted automatically to in-person. It might not be possible to accommodate at this point because it has been a great deal of time since we first opened that workflow. But if you would like to give us an option other than the default to in-person, please email Mr. Green. And his website, his email is right here to communicate your preference, and we will communicate back to you as soon as we know more information. So it's not too late to do, but the workflow is currently closed. So go ahead and email him if you have not communicated to us yet. Although we cannot guarantee that we can accommodate you, we will try our best, as we always do. And if you have any questions about the reopening of school, and I know I emailed my daughter's teacher just the other day, my daughter's principal, please feel free to use the link, which is on our website. The link will also be in the quick links that I'm about to email you for specific questions that you may have. And you can expect a quick reply. Again, if I don't have the information, I will get you the information that you need or tell you to wait patiently as we continue to lock things down. Last but not least, don't forget to follow us on our YouTube channel, our Instagram, Twitter, or Facebook. And I did not give a proper shout out to our YouTube channel. A lot of great information can be found directly on our YouTube channel, and our morning show, which is completely student run and part of our media broadcasting pathway. They are responsible for sending out a great deal of information daily that's important to our students. And if you've got a free time, some free time and you're on your way to work, you might want to listen to the morning show to get what you need as far as updated information for your student. But you can also find that in all of the other platforms as well. So don't forget to follow us. I'm excited to see hopefully about 90 new follows on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. And you can subscribe to our YouTube channel as well. Lastly, I want to take a second to really acknowledge your partnership and thank you in advance for this partnership. These are our kids, and you can hear that phrase coming from the hallways with our students, with our staff that work in our cafeteria, with our custodians, with our administrators, and our district level administrators as well. We value our job so much and are privileged to be able to work with your students, make a strong connection with them, and watch them succeed in 4 years from now. These 4 years are going to fly by before you know it. In a blink of an eye, it'll be gone. So we're really excited to work together to support your teenager in the next 4 years. Be on the lookout for more communication. Thank you all. Good night.